Broadcasting live from somewhere in the Shadow Realm, this is YuGiOh Deck Talk. Here's your host, Doug Dimmaduel.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of YuGiOh Deck Talk. Today, we're going to take a look at the ban list that was recently put out for the OCG. I know this doesn't necessarily pertain to us right now in the TCG here in the United States, but it's a good insight as to what cards are being limited, what cards are being semi-limited and banned, that we could kind of anticipate when the next TCG ban list comes out, potentially what can possibly get a hit, what can be potentially unaffected. We'll just figure out what the deal is here, but just to kind of briefly go through the list, as far as the new forbidden card within the OCG right now, by the way, this takes place, I believe, as of July 1st, 2017 in the OCG. I may be wrong on that, but at least that's what I believe it is. But anyway, the first forbidden card, and it's the only one in this recently updated ban list, is Zodiac Broad Bull. The newly limited cards are Masterpiece, the True Draco Slaying King, Fairy Tale Snow, and Dragonic Diagram. The newly semi-limited cards are Perform Pal, Pendulum Sorcerer, Witch of the Black Forest, Skarm, Malebranche of the Burning Abyss, Rescue Cat, Burial from a Different Dimension, Card of Demise, Preparation of Rites, Sacrifice, Dark Hole, Terraforming, Union Hanger, Wavering Eyes, Dragon Ravine, and Solemn Strike. So, at least what I want to do is just kind of go into a little bit of further detail as to breaking out some of the cards that were recently affected. So, I do want to go through the limited cards first, I do want to start with the limited cards. Fairy Tale Snow. If you're not familiar with it, it's a level 4 spellcaster, 1850 attack, 1000 defense. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls and change it to face-down position, defense position. During either player's turn, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 7 other cards from your hand, field, and or graveyard to special summon this card. So, within its inherent effects, it already has kind of a recyclable aspect to it through banishing other cards within your hand, deck, or field, within your hand, field, or graveyard. So, having 3 of these in the deck really almost just guarantees that there's going to be a Fairy Tale Snow somewhere once you get your first card of the 3. So I can understand why they're limiting it to 1. This is a very powerful card, and also the fact that it has the ability to come back out on the field and reactivate its effect. So I guess we can understand why that one was limited. And I want to go take a look at the card that was recently forbidden and recently banned, which is Zodiac Broad Bull. It was the rank 4 Beast Warrior Xyz, question mark attack, question mark defense, 2 level 4 monsters. Once per turn, you can also Xyz summon Zodiac Broad Bull by using one Zodiac monster you control with a different name as Xyz material. If you used an Xyz monster, any Xyz material attached to it also becomes Xyz material on this card. This card gains attack and defense equal to the attack and defense of all Zodiac monsters attached to it as materials. Once per turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, add one Beast Warrior type monster that can be normal summoned or set from your deck to your hand. So this effect is very useful as far as continuing your combos, but now that it is banned, I think there's going to be some tweaking involved with strategies. I'm sure there have already been the anticipation that Broad Bull would get hit, so I'm pretty sure for the Zodiac players, they've already got things all figured out. I'm not necessarily too far into the whole Zodiac playstyle. I know it's one of the most popular darn things out there right now in the current meta, but this one is it's taken a hit, and we'll see how things are affected moving forward. So the other limited card, Masterpiece, the True Draco Slaying King. It's the level 8 worm, 2950 attack, 2950 defense. To tribute summon this card face up, you contribute continuous spell trap cards you control as well as monsters, unaffected by the effects of cards with the same card type, monster, spell, and or trap as the original card type of the cards tributed for its tribute summon. Once per turn during either player's turn, if you control this tribute summon monster, you can banish one continuous spell or trap card from your graveyard, then target one other card on the field and destroy it. So this thing is just all around a beast because of its inherent effect. And I understand that this thing was very expensive when the new card set came out, where this was one of the secret rares. So Masterpiece, the True Draco Slaying King, just an absolute staple in a lot of these True King decks. So yeah, at least in the OCG now, it's limited to 1. And of course, the other thing that goes along with that is a Dragonic Diagram, which is just an absolutely monster of a card too for the True Kings style play. It's a field spell card where all True Draco and True King monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. The first time each tribute summoned True Draco or True King monster would be destroyed by battle each turn, it is not destroyed. Once per turn, you can destroy one other card you control or in your hand, and if you do, add one True Draco or True King card from your deck to your hand. So this thing is just an all-around facilitator of different types of strategies that you can use out of the True King style decks at the cost of destroying the one card from your hand or that you control. You're able to really just snatch up whatever True King card you could possibly want and go from there. So they're limiting this one to 1. This was a very expensive card, just like Masterpiece. This is a very sought after secret rare card, so I can understand why this one is, is being hit down to 1. So I'm not going to go through every other card on this list that was semi-limited and limited on all that stuff, but what I want to do is just talk about a few cards that may be good or bad or kind of more of a head scratcher. But the one that sticks out to me right now the most is Terraforming, limiting this spell card from 3 to 2 in the OCG. I'm not sure how well it's going to be taken within the within the TCG, if that happens within the TCG. Now, what Terraforming is, it's a normal spell card where you add one field spell card from your deck to your hand. So many decks right now, not just meta decks, but rogue decks, seem to rely on Terraforming pretty heavily to start getting your combos going. It seems like just about every archetype has some kind of field spell card that gives it some sort of major benefit. So by having Terraforming, it allows the opportunity, if you run 3 copies of Terraforming in your deck, to hopefully get your field spell into your hand and onto the field as quickly as possible. But with that also comes the chance of being able to just get absolutely insane field spell cards onto the field, such as Draconic Diagram, which we just discussed. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure the mindset as to why they want to limit it from 3 to 2. It seems like they really take into account the cards that almost everybody is using, and they try to hit those. So if that's the case, it seems like a good majority of players do run copies of Terraforming in their deck. So naturally, it would be subject to some kind of hit on some of these lists. So interesting to see that this one will be cut down to 2 in the OCG. The other one as well is Union Hanger, which is, hey, what do you know, a field spell card. This one was limited to 2 since it's now a semi-limited card. Its effect is when this card is activated, you can add one light machine type Union monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, if a light machine type Union monster is normal or special summoned to your field, except during the damage step, you can target one of those monsters, equip one appropriate light machine type Union monster with a different name from your deck to that monster, but the Union monster you equipped cannot be special summoned this turn. You can only activate one Union Hanger per turn. So this is really one of the backbones to the ABC Dragon Buster deck that was extremely popular for a while. So yeah, this is one that's also going to take the hit. That's just one to look out for as well. Card of Demise, that's been a very popular card for certain decks that are handless and that you're not relying so much on keeping cards in your hand for, and certain ones that cards come back to your hand. I know Card of Demise is a very good card to have for Yosenju decks, since all the Yosenju monsters do return to your hand at the end phase, which really doesn't really come into play with the Card of Demise effect, since anything that would all the negative impacts of this card would happen before your Yosenjus come back. So there's stuff like that, but this one will be limited to 2 within the OCG. Not sure if they're planning on hitting that one in the TCG next. It seems highly likely, since this was, again, a very, very well sought after card, and running multiple copies of it can can just prove to be very lethal in the current play style. Dark Hole was being semi-limited. That is already semi-limited within the TCG. You're only allowed to run 2 copies of that. Preparation of Rites is interesting because in the TCG it's limited to 1. So with it being limited to 2 in the OCG, it's interesting to see maybe they're trying to get more people to play Ritual Monsters, because with this one it's a normal spell card where you add 1 level 7 or lower Ritual Monster from your deck to your hand. Then you could add 1 Ritual spell card from your graveyard to the hand. So this one will be pretty good moving forward, especially with the new Link summoning mechanics, how maybe they're trying to nudge everybody back into the direction of taking another look at Ritual decks and taking another look at Ritual Monsters. So, yeah, the potential is there. Same thing with Burial from a Different Dimension. This one is currently a limited card to 1 in the TCG, and with it being at a semi-limited in the OCG, where you could have 2 copies of it, it's interesting to see how many people are going to utilize this. But Burial from a Different Dimension is a quick play spell card where you could target up to 3 banished monsters and return them to the graveyard. So in certain decks, this can be an absolutely really good card, because and one of the things that I think of too are Cosmo cards, since you're banishing a whole bunch of monsters, and some of them have good effects from the graveyard, or other certain cards allow you to remove cards from the graveyard back to being banished. So this could kind of refill your graveyard, so to speak. Burial from a Different Dimension. So there are ways to take advantage of all this stuff. But anyway, this is, it's just an interesting ban list to look at, to see what's going on in the OCG. Now, do I think that we're going to see similar adjustments in the TCG in the future? Quite possibly. That's why I wanted to discuss this OCG ban list in the first place and just kind of go through those things. But yeah, overall, pretty interesting. There were some that seemed like an obvious hit. There were others that seemed kind of like head scratchers. But I'd like to know what you think. If you think that some of these are good, bad, or if they're completely necessary. So let me know what you think. Reach out to me on Twitter at YuGiOh Deck Talk. It's all one word, at YuGiOh Deck Talk. And I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I'll be happy to bring this up in another future podcast episode. So that's it for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.